What do you think of when you hear the word shark?
A man in his 50s has been killed in a shark
The
attack.
body of a 60-year-old surfer under a paramedic's blue blanket.
The man was killed by a great white shark at a popular Gold Coast beach.
Shark attacks. Many people are scared of shark attacks, some to the extent that they are scared to be in the ocean at all. For beach communities, making sure people feel safe is a necessity if they want the tourists to come. The solution? Culling campaigns. The concept is simple. Fewer sharks mean fewer shark attacks. New South Wales and Queensland in Australia, as well as a few other places around the globe, use a combination of shark nets and drumlines to control the number of sharks in the area. They target great whites, tiger sharks, and bull sharks, the species most often blamed for shark attacks. Shark nets are large fishing nets suspended in the water, usually at a depth of 10 to 14 meters. When the shark swims into them, they become entangled, keeping them away from the beaches. Drumlines are often seen as better alternatives to nets. A floating barrel or drum is attached to the seafloor with one rope, with another rope attached to a baited hook. Because they use bait, they are better at attracting the target sharks, and they don't trap as many non-target species. Patrols go out every few days to check the nets and lines. If they've caught a target shark, they'll kill it, and any non-target species are relocated. Many, however, die before they can be moved, or die soon after from injuries or trauma, which is why New South Wales removes the injuries during important migration seasons, such as the migration of the humpback whale. But do these programs actually work? Certainly the state governments want you to think so, but the evidence indicates otherwise. First, does it stop all shark attacks on the protected beaches? No. Just last year in Queensland, a man was killed by a shark bite, despite the fact that he was at a beach with a shark net and 8 drumlines deployed. Second, does it lower the rate of shark attacks? Not necessarily. In many places, rates have been falling even before protections were put in place, and the trend has only continued afterward. Shark Shepherd reports that even at unprotected beaches in Australia, fatalities still fell 28% after the start of the program. And we can look at historical trials of culling programs too. Take Hawaii, for instance. From 1959 to 1976, Hawaii instituted 6 different culling programs, spending over $300,000 to kill over 4,500 sharks in an 18-month period. The result? There was no measurable impact on the number of shark attacks. So why is that? Well, for one, it was operating under the assumption that the large sharks were territorial and had a home area that they stayed in, when in reality sharks, especially large sharks, are migratory, so removing a local shark population isn't really something that can be done. But there's another reason too. Despite what movies like Jaws may have led you to believe, shark attacks are actually incredibly rare. And if you think sharks will take every opportunity to eat a human, think again. In fact, shark nets have shown that about 40% of sharks are caught as they are trying to leave the beach area. They were already by the humans. Surely, if they wanted a nibble, they could have taken one. In reality, shark attacks are incredibly rare. There were over 500 million visits to beaches in Australia last year, but only 22 unprovoked shark attacks, and only 7 of which were fatal. That's about 1/1,000,000th of 1% of the people at the beach. The International Shark Attack File calculated the risk of an average person dying from a shark attack to be less than 1 in 3.7 million. You're more likely to be killed by an asteroid than by a shark. Because there are so few shark attacks, many people and environmental groups think that the cost for these programs far outweighs the potential benefit. One of the worst costs of the culling campaigns, especially the shark nets, is bycatch. Shark nets have captured, injured, and killed enormous amounts of non-target animals, like rays, dolphins, and sea turtles. In 2020, data from the New South Wales Shark Meshing Program showed that 480 marine animals were captured in a mere 8 months. Nearly 60% of those animals actually died in the nets. Less than 11% were the targeted species. The worst part? Most of them are endangered, supposedly protected under Australian federal law. And if you notice, one of the threatened species being killed is the great white shark. Great whites are targets of these culling campaigns, sanctioned by the Australian government, despite being supposedly protected by the Australian government and international statutes. New South Wales and Queensland both made provisions in their legislation so that they could make exceptions for shark control. And there are immense environmental costs for killing sharks. Apex predators like sharks maintain the health of their ecosystem. When sharks aren't there, prey populations can surpass what the environment can support, leading to the degradation of the entire ecosystem. Sharks even support nutrient cycling. Deep diving species bring nutrients from richer, colder ocean depths, and sharks that live near coasts bring nutrients from these incredibly diverse areas out to barren open oceans. And when they die, they fall to the seafloor, supporting an ecosystem that flourishes around the decomposing body. So culling campaigns don't make people safer, and they cause immense environmental damage. What can you do? Step 1 is to get educated. Learn about sharks, about how important they are. Look up all the different species. There's over 500 of them, and some of them don't look like the sharks in the movies. Listen to conservationists, to the many shark attack survivors who don't want culling campaigns. Tell people about sharks. Let them know that they don't need to be scared, that sharks are vital parts of the worlds we live in. If you live in a place that uses culling campaigns, tell your government that you don't support killing sharks and that there are better ways of keeping people safe. New technologies are being developed all the time that can protect both us and the sharks. There are products that create electrical force fields around you that sharks will sense and stay away from. There's even surfboards for sale. There are eco-barriers that can enclose beaches without catching sharks in the net, keeping both the sharks and the people safe. Or there are smart drum lines, shark management alert in real time. These drum lines are attached to GPS systems that alert researchers when a shark has latched onto the bait. Their teams can be deployed immediately, and they can tag the sharks and relocate them further offshore. There's less bycatch, a lower mortality rate, and it allows for better monitoring of shark populations. They can even link the tagged sharks up to an app and to social media where people can see the sharks and how they move. Sharks are not out to get us. It's us out to get them. We can change that, though, and create a healthier ecosystem for everyone, both above the waves and beneath.